Kugan Cassius for Eiffel TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella in Leeds today for the press conference of We Are Leeds, April 11th, First Direct Arena.
Leeds.
What?
So I feel like it's the first time we've done an interview for a while.
No.
When did we last do one?
Berlin.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
It's not here. I feel that.
Sorry, alright.
Josh Warrington. Do you know what? You know when he fought for the Commonwealth title? I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't. Steve Wood went, I've got my boy fighting for the Commonwealth title, make sure you get an interview with him. And since then, he's like, Commonwealth, British, European, you're talking about potential world titles for him now in the next sort of 12 months or whatever. It is a fairy tale story for Josh Warrington.
It's a roller coaster. You know, he's just gotta ride it. Sorry. I watched him box Samir Mamoon in Hull for the Commonwealth title. Heard a bit about him from Steve Wood. He was already English featherweight champion. Brought a couple of hundred there, and they were quite loud. And afterwards, they were jumping all over me, saying, "You got to sign Josh. You got to sign Josh." And so we did. And then he went off and he boxed in Manchester. You know, then he won the British title in Leeds. Then he won the European title in Leeds. And throughout that whole process, it was like it's just a dream. But now there's a reality kicking in that, you know, he can win a world title, and he's got the support of this city to go and do it, because I've never seen anything like this in terms of support and fanatical support from a city, you know. And he's very, very lucky, but they're lucky because they're now backing a horse that has real world championship potential and a very talented young fighter and a great young kid as well.
If Selby comes through Gradovic, which we hope he does on the 25th of April, is that the easiest thing to do?
Yes, I don't think, you know, I think with Josh now you've got this world title eliminator on April the 11th, come back here in September, and I really want him to have, you know, a statement fight against a big name. And then I think 2016, Selby against Warrington, absolutely, you know, that's a fight that could be built into a huge British fight for a world title, huge money for both of them. So, you know, my job is to provide them with those opportunities. Love to see Josh go and win a world title separately. But if that fight presents itself, I think both fighters will be up for it.
Interesting. April the 11th, obviously we knew that Cleverly is not on the bill. You replaced it with Limond and Jenkins, which was a great fight for the British title. Limond been out of action since, what was it, last April?
Yes, no, June. Yeah,
sorry.
He's been waiting on the Dorocco fight. He really wanted to fight for the European title. And now time run out. It was like, you know, you've got to defend your British title or vacate it. And he didn't want to vacate it. So he fights Jenkins. It's a 50-50 fight. You know that we probably don't do enough British title fights. When Willie bought that belt today, I was looking at it thinking, no, that's one of the most beautiful, prestigious belts in world boxing, in my opinion. But because our stable, I don't mean to sound like a tart, but I'm trying to take a lot of our stable on and set them up for world title fights. Sometimes the British title gets overlooked, but you always get good scraps for the British title, and I think Limond Jenkins will be a great fight. So, you know, I think Jenkins, obviously one prize fighter, very talented young fighter. It's a tough fight for both of them, and I think it's tough to call.
Martin J. Ward and Maxie Hughes'
Really
rematch.
good fight. Yeah, I mean, the first fight was a strange one. Ward got headbutted accidentally in the second round. It was scored a knockdown. He was concussed for most of the fight. He slipped and it was scored a knockdown again. I actually felt that if you scored those knockdowns, which weren't knockdowns, then Maxie Hughes probably should have got it. But if they weren't knockdowns, Wardy probably should have got it. It was a weird one, you know. So I feel all in all, they were both unlucky. But now they get a chance to do it all again. It's really nice to see two talented young kids get a chance on a platform like this. 10,000 in the arena, wonderful atmosphere, live on Sky Sports, and two very good fighters. I think Maxie Hughes' confidence has really grown off the back of the last performance. I think he really fancies a job going into this fight, but for Wardy, it's a 110% must-win fight, because if he's going to be what we think he should be, he has to be beating Maxie Hughes, because he has to go on and advance for domestic titles soon. So he must beat Maxie Hughes.
Also on the bill features Rocky Fielding, Bob Adjusar. Rocky Fielding is mandatory for the British title. Have you had a conversation with Paul Smith about what he's going to do
I think it's
this?
a little bit too early. You know, I spoke to him on Monday. I said, look, you've got to make a decision in the next couple of weeks about what you want to do with the British title. Paul's operated now at world level. He's done very well. He's proved that he can operate at that level. Does he want to move back to the domestic scene? It's a big fight for Liverpool. It's a big money fight for both of them. But I think he'll just take a couple of days just to get his head together after the Abraham fight and just see what else is out there. You know, he'd love the Stern fight, but he looks like he's fighting Chudinov. Looks like Abraham's fighting Stieglitz. So, you know, I think the Fielding fight certainly will be considered by Paul. It's just a case of whether he feels that's the right move for him.
Sturm and Chudinov, Fedor Chudinov, are they fighting for the WBA title?
So I believe Chudinov is the WBA interim champion. So, you know, I don't know what they're going to do with Andre. Obviously, you've got the 2 WBA champs, Andre Ward and Carl Froch. Andre Ward hasn't boxed for like 2 years. Or a year.
But he's got the super status, isn't he?
I mean, there's still rules. You know, so I don't know what's happening with him. But, you know, Chudinov is the current WBA interim champion, as is the brother, who's fighting Eubank in, is it next week? This weekend.
This weekend.
So, you know, they're both interim champs.
Okay. You announced the deal with the Sauerlands this week. Sort of a cross where you're using their stuff. Right swap. Just break it down for me very briefly.
Really good news for us, our fighters, and for British fight fans. So, obviously, we're doing a lot of work with Calla. He's got a new partnership with Sat1, and we decided to basically give him the German TV rights for our shows, and in exchange he will give us the UK rights for his German and Scandinavian fight nights. So, and also we will be able to place fighters on their bills, and they'll be able to do the same for us. So, breaking it down, 12 world title fights on Sat1 in Germany, and also Scandinavian fight nights
in the next year.
Yeah, so I own the UK rights for those fights, German fights and the Scandinavian fights. So Sky will get first dibs at whatever fights they wish to acquire, and the rest will be shown on Matchroom Fight Pass. Pretty much all the Scandinavian fights will be on the Fight Pass, and a few World Championship nights will also be on the Fight Pass, and Sky will schedule the ones that they would like, starting with Bramer against Krasniqi for the WBA light heavyweight title on March the 21st. On that bill, we'll be sending out probably O'Hara Davis to box out there, and also maybe one other. It's a great opportunity for us to help our young fighters to progress and learn.
Yeah.
It's so important to take them into a new environment. You know, I've done it so many times in America. You know, even Josh Warrington in Berlin last week, it was a new experience for him. I believe it will grow him as a fighter. But for these younger guys like O'Hara Davis, to fly out to Germany, I mean, they won't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we'll send someone with them, but it's a big part of the learning curve, and I'm really excited about the partnership. It's great news for Sky Sports. It's great news for Matchroom Fight Pass. It's great news for our young fighters. Great news for Matchroom. Great news for Sauerland. Everybody wins, and they've got some big fights planned. You know, Abraham against Stieglitz. You know, potentially Cleverly against Bramer as well. You got potentially Abraham against Sturm. You know, you got Huck, Hernandez. There's a lot of big fights.
So does this effectively mean that David Price and George Groves are Sky fighters now?
No. Scott, this isn't a deal with Sauerland and Sky. This is a deal with Sauerland and Matchroom, and vice versa. So the deal isn't with Matchroom and Sat1. So Calla owns the German rights for our shows. So it's up to him what he does with them, and me the same. So if I wanted, I could give none to Sky and just put them all on the Fight Pass. But I'm going to be giving the big fights to Sky, schedule permitting for them. And it's totally outside of our agreement. Someone came on and said, yeah, but now we're going to lose British fights. No, you're not. This is on top of our exclusive dates with Sky. So in terms of Groves and Price, not really, because they don't really box on, well, Groves particularly, on the Sat1 shows and the Scandinavian shows. If they did, then that would be the case. But you'd think if George boxed again before the Durrell fight, he'd box in the UK.
And it'd probably be on Sky anyway.
If we decided to put it on, yeah.
Interesting.
But, you know, like, you know, a lot of people said to me, you know, oh, well, Groves fought. I love Groves fighting on Sky. Delivers good viewing figures. You know, he's always an exciting fight. So when I can, I want to make sure that George Groves boxes on Sky.
Okay. What else do I have to ask you? What is going on with this O2 show?
So we're finalised. We've got Selby against Gradovic, which is done and dusted. Then we've got De Gale against Durrell, which is ongoing, nearly there, very difficult. Neither fighter really wants to travel. We'll put the pressure on there, trying to get that done. Hopefully by the end of the week it's wrapped up. Andre Durrell talks a great game. We've made him a huge offer. He says he's happy to travel now, so let's get it done.
I'm not saying you're running out of time, but
yeah, we'd like to get it announced next week.
Yeah.
So it gives us 8 weeks.
8 weeks
on Saturday.
8 week run out.
It's going to sell very, very quickly. So you've got AJ against Johnson on there as well, and some other big fights as well. But we want to get it wrapped up ASAP.
Do you know Sky's position regarding Pacquiao Mayweather?
No, obviously I don't think there's a broadcaster interested in boxing that wouldn't love to have it. I was in with Sky yesterday, just talking about the fight. Obviously they'll be making an attempt to get it, as will BoxNation, as will maybe BT. I don't know, but of course if you're in boxing, you want to try and make sure that you get that fight.
And obviously you'll be helping me with my...
Well, I said to Sky yesterday in the meeting, I said, let's get the fight, because it's probably the only chance I'm going to get to go. Because I'm not lumping out whatever it is for a ticket. And I don't really like asking for tickets either, Because you imagine how many people are asking. People are a lot more important than me. Wow.
But you've agreed to help me, haven't you? In my quest for a credential.
Yes. If Sky get the fight, I'll do my best.
That's all I wanted to hear. Eddie Hearn, thanks to Zyfel TV. Let's return now back to home. You're going to...
I'm going to the World Series of Boxing tonight at York Hall.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Not really seen it. Anthony Fowler.
Joshua
Sam
Brave.
Maxwell, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to watching the production. I think it's live on ESPN. I think it's a good concept. Looking forward to seeing it in the flesh.
Eddie Hearn, thanks for joining Zyfel TV, and catch up with you soon.